Welcome to another episode of Break Time, the show that pumps the brakes on the busy lives of our guests, allowing them to slow down and open up. Today, we're chatting to Sósanna Ní Dhubháin, who was a senior composite designer for Aston Martin Formula One team, a local Rostrevor girl who went from dreaming about Formula One to working right in the very heart of it, designing and delivering the carbon fibre parts that have to survive some of the most extreme conditions in sport. She's worked on cars that have gone wheel to wheel with the very best in the world, dealt with the pressure of race weekends, late night deadlines, and the constant push to make things lighter, faster, and stronger. She's also a leading voice and advocate for young women seeking careers in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, encouraging young women to strive for roles that would have previously been very male-dominated, and has shared her story to many throughout the country, and hope that showing them that anything is possible. So, Susie, welcome to the podcast. Delighted to have
some
you.
introduction. I don't know how to live up to that now.
Very well deserved. Very well deserved.
Oh, thank you.
So let's take this right to the very beginning and the decision of lights out and away we go on your amazing career into Formula One. And as a 12-year-old Susie, you sent a letter to every F1 team on the grid. So can you tell me about this famous letter and what did it entail and who responded?
Yeah, so as far as I can remember, because it was
a long time
ago, I just basically said I wanted to work in F1. What should I do? What were the opportunities? What should I do as a 12-year-old to get into F1? So Ferrari replied and basically asked me to send my CV. I did say I was 12.
Yeah.
So, you know. And then another team, I can say it now. Now I don't work for Aston Martin.
Yeah.
The other team was McLaren, F1. They wrote a lovely letter, 4-page letter from I think it was the head of HR wrote it, and it was basically like, if you want to be an aerodynamicist, that's what you do. If you want to be a design engineer, that's what you do. If you want to be a mechanic, that's what you do. And it was, I have the letter somewhere in my parents' house, but I think that kind of gave me the first drive to be, I could do this. You know, this is, it is
very clear pathway.
Yeah, it is an impossible dream.
Yeah.
So yeah, but 12 is very young, I guess, to to have your dream set out. But,
exactly. And you selected something at that point and then set that vision out?
Yeah, well, this is, I think you need to at that age. Like, this is, because you have to choose your GCSEs at 14, 15. You need to know what you want to do. And choosing your GCSEs and choosing your A-levels will drive what you do as a degree.
Mm-hmm.
I try to, I guess we might go on this later, but I try to encourage young girls to choose early. Do your maths, do your technology. You can do it. There's no reason you can't do it. If your school is good at it, I think girls are better at it in some ways.
Yeah, they just need to be encouraged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
but a 12-year-old, that's such a vision, to have that and set that goal. So, what was it in F1 that made you want to pursue that field? Was it the driver, a race, or just the passion for just engineering?
I'm not really sure. I love the engineering of the cars. I was obsessed with all the little details, and I was a massive Michael Schumacher fan. So it kind of helped that he was 5-time world champion at that point, and the Ferraris of that era, the 2000s, were just, all the cars were beautiful cars to look at, and all the wings and all the intricacies, and I just wanted to be part of that. So,
and if you were maybe Formula One led, I know in my family that on a Sunday, that's all that was on the TV. So you had to watch it. That was it.
No one in my family was into F1.
Oh, really? Okay.
No one knows where I got it from. So I just, one day, I guess I started watching it and then had to watch it. We'd get up at all hours when the Chinese Grand Prix was at 2 a.m. and wake the whole house up and, But
and
nobody knows where it came from. Because no one else in my family, even to this day, they don't watch the races.
Really? Even
though I've designed the car, they still won't watch it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Your family's really well known for their musical talent. So Formula, as you rightly say, was not the traditional go-to career in the household. And again, when you were very young, you were in the choir. You sang for the Prince of Monaco?
Yeah. So my mum ran a local youth choir called Corn and Oak. we've gone all over the world. We went to Malta, Monaco, all the M's, Malta, Monaco, Madrid. In Monaco we performed for Prince Albert as he was then at the Princess Grace Theatre. It was a St. Patrick's Day performance. So that was from a very young age, I got to see places and do things that were kind of out of my comfort zone. But I think that gave me a bit more confidence. I would never do it now. Like I hate being on stage, hate performing, but I was forced to when I was a kid.
Well, as you say, it pushed you outside your comfort zone.
Yeah,
so therefore, in the career that you chose, you were probably being continually pushed outside your comfort zone as well.
Yeah, but I guess because I was used to it, I didn't feel like I was being pushed, if that makes sense.
You seized it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, in the years after you sent the letter, you worked flat out making your dream come true, getting your mechanical engineering degree in UCD, and then you attended Cranfield University in England for your master's in motorsport engineering. So, when you first moved across then the pond, is it true that you didn't unpack your car for a week or two?
A month.
A month?
I drove over in my little Peugeot 308. I was like, I'm not staying, so I'll just leave the car packed. Yeah. And then I went down to my sister in London, and she was like, "Look, cop on, you're staying.
Yeah, get on with it.
Yeah, you're not leaving." So yeah.
And that was it then.
Yeah, I then unpacked the car, but I've always had a yearning for home, like so.
Yeah. And do you remember the first time, I suppose, coming out of college, that you felt that Formula One was actually tangible, that dream was actually possible to get into?
I think it was only when I was at Cranfield and at that university, you kind of spoke to people, came in from F1 teams, and you kind of had conversations with actual F1 engineers, which was a real novelty. But even then, I still thought it was maybe possible, but thankfully. Well, I have to stop saying thankfully. I was lucky.
You were there,
worked hard, and and I got my first job straight out of Cranfield.
Brilliant, and that was with Lotus, wasn't it?
Yeah, the team was then called Team Lotus, which then changed its name to Caterham. This is a common thing with F1 teams that seem to change their names.
Yeah, continually
all the time. So it's a bit and that job. I remember my interview because it was the funniest thing, like the least F1 interview ever. Because I went in and it was a guy called Dean Basford who was ended up being my first boss. And we basically ended up talking about fishing, like for half an hour in the interview, because I had on my CV that I go lobster fishing with my dad in the summer in Kerry. And then that's all he wanted to talk about was just fishing. I was like, oh, okay. And then I got the job.
Amazing. Do you not find that everything that we do that is built in relationships?
Exactly. But I think that in F1 you need to get on with everyone because you work such long hours in pressurized environments. You need to be able to relate to the people you're with. So
exactly, and you obviously saw something within you as well, and as did one of your teachers, Mr. Kane. So how important was he?
I don't think I would be where I am today without Mr. Paul Kane from Sacred Heart. He pushed me in for GCSE and A-level physics because I wouldn't describe myself as the most academic person. I would kind of just do enough to get by. Never really applied myself. I was never top of the class, never brilliantly academically. I just did enough. But he kind of pushed me to, you can do it. Yeah, I could. I was just lazy. But I think
you're being hard on yourself there.
I definitely wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him. So
it's so important for even young boys and girls.
Yeah.
To have a really good teacher that believes in them and can push them to the limits as well. Because
someone just actually I had a maths teacher that told me I wasn't good enough to do relevant maths.
Yeah, I think there's loads of successful people actually that I've spoken to and heard over the years that have been told that they couldn't do something, but actually they've actually bucked the trend and they've gone on to
you almost want to improve.
Exactly, they've been really successful and you've been really successful as well. So, and when you graduated with your master's from Cranfield, did you have one specific team, one goal? Is it one team that you wanted to get into? As a massive Ferrari fan, I think everyone in F1 wants to work for Ferrari at some stage. But I was just happy to be in F1 at that stage, and
Team Lotus was a very small team. We were in the back end of Norfolk, so it was a lovely little countryside. It's almost like Restrever. It was a small little village, and everyone lived close by, so everyone was a really, really close team.
Yeah,
and we all the team wasn't the best. Like we were back of the grid. But everyone was putting in.
Everybody likes an underdog.
Yeah,
though, don't
exactly. And we were all there to make that car better. We all everyone moved to Norfolk for that reason.
Yeah.
There was very few people from there, so we all gave up everything to do this, to make this car better. So it was a lovely environment. And then that team moved to a place called Leafield, which is over in Oxfordshire, so kind of near where all the other F1 teams are. And then it kind of got a bit too big and then disappeared.
Yeah, I know. And when you were arriving at Lotus the first few days as that junior composite designer, what was that like? How did you feel?
It was terrifying because I had no idea what I was doing, what to do. Like the first time I had CAD training, because we didn't do CAD in uni, which is now a lot of the youngsters coming through, they have all the experience
second
before
nature
they
to
come
them,
in.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
Whereas when I was like, I don't even know how to open the program, never mind how to use the program. So I had training I had 3 days of training on this CAD program, and then was pushed in, designed my first part, which was a wing mirror on the car. And I have a photo of it today that it's signed by Heikki Kovalainen because he was the driver. So I have a photo of my wing mirror signed by the driver that drove it. So that was my first part on an F1
What an
car.
accomplishment.
And it was all that was my first foray into how quickly things move in F1. So I had busy week to design it, even though now, if I was doing it now, I'd probably be given an hour to do it. Whereas
Really?
I was given a week, and then a week later it was on the car. So it was
fast paced.
It's very, very fast so exciting.
And what was your greatest challenge in that time with Lotus? Because it's a very male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
Were you the only female into it, or was there other team members?
There was actually one other girl at my time. Well, when we moved to the Leafield, there was one other girl. But when I first started, I was the first girl in the composite design. I actually liked being the only girl.
Yeah.
Because everyone almost looked after you.
Yeah.
Because you were the young junior, and everyone showed you how to do things, and were kind of, very respectful in your team. And I never felt out of place there, so it was a nice environment.
And that's what you said. It was a nice environment.
Yeah.
It was that family feel. It was a small team. Probably if it had been a larger team, it might have been slightly differently. Maybe.
Yeah. So I think it was maybe 40 designers in total there. So maybe there was, I think, 200 employees in total in the whole team at that point. It was very... Bear in mind, when I left Aston Martin, it was 1,400 employees.
Yeah, some different.
Slightly different, yeah.
So, and for those watching or listening who don't know the technical side, could you explain what a composite engineer actually does on the F1 car and the impact that you have on the performance of it?
Yeah, sure. So, composite material is essentially something that's made up of two different materials to improve the material. 2 or more materials to improve the material properties overall. So mainly carbon fiber. So carbon fiber is I'm trying not to geek out in this. It's like a fabric when it's raw. So you can like that, and you can just drape it onto things. So we can make very complex parts on a Formula 1 car. I would say maybe 70% of a Formula 1 car is a composite material. So quite a big percentage of it is and carbon fiber is primarily the material we use. It's a wonder material. It can do. There's loads of different types of carbon fiber as well. So I did brake ducts a lot. So you'll have high temperature carbon fiber because the brake ducts can get to 1,500 degrees. So you need material that can withstand high temperatures. And then I also did nose, which is front impact structure. So it had to take a lot of crashes, so it needs to be strong, it needs to be impact resistant, so it'd be a different type of carbon fiber. You'd have wings that need to flex but not flex at the right at the right angles, and there's a lot of complexity goes into all of it that the general public never see, which I wish they did, because I find it so interesting, all the little details. I geek out in brake ducts. I love them. They're my favourite part of the car. But inside the drum, there's probably about 50 different parts nobody ever sees, but they have like massive implications to the car performance, because the only thing that's in contact with the road is the tyre, and the only thing that's near the tyre is the brake ducts.
Yeah.
So it controls the heat into the tyre. So I say it's the most important thing.
Of course.
Yeah, not everyone believes
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I do. So
Well, we'll go with your take on it today. So, and with that, because as you say, that is the most important part of the car that you deem it is. Like the pressure that you're under to make sure that is on point and doesn't flex and doesn't do the wrong thing that has an impact on the tire and the velocity of the heat. So how do you deal with that? Or do you have this insatiable appetite for pressure?
I think you have to want it. Like it's that like, so like this year, our design for the 2026 car, it was all quite late. And so for the brake ducts, I was convinced we wouldn't be able to fit them, because it's basically like a 3D jigsaw puzzle, and you have to fit around all these bits. And I was like, they're not going to be able to fit it. Like, what if they can't? And they weren't going to find this out till they got to the racetrack, just by the way the logistics worked. And I was like, if they get to the racetrack and they can't fit it, and the car can't run because of me, I was like, but it was fine in the end, because I knew it would work, but it was very touch and go. I was like, well, it's designed.
Do you have a
perfectly
contingency plan behind that, or
you can't, because that is your parts. This is
this is what you have
to make another one. You won't have that for at least a week. So
everything's on the line for that.
Yeah, and we do that to maximize performance, because if you can push it as late as possible, then Aero have more time to make it better and faster. So then, but that means we have less time to make sure it works, which is, and that timeline is getting shorter and shorter now in F1, which is quite scary. But we've never been in a position where it stopped the car, but it could it would just take one thing for it to not happen. And
well, hopefully it will remain seamless. And that's it. You put so much effort into this. So when there is an accident, or and you see the part that you've designed and put all that hard work into, to see that on the track, how does that feel?
It is devastating. You're just and the amount of work that goes into it, because carbon fiber parts are all handmade. So someone has to lay them up by hand in the right angle. Then they have to be cooked. Then they have to be trimmed. Like, hours and hours of people's work goes into these, and it could just be one small moment, and
it's gone.
Yeah, that's why you have to have enough spares.
Well, this is it. And can you describe the feeling you get when something that you've put your heart and soul into and you've designed contributes to the increase in performance?
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it when you've personally had an input into the. And I think we get that more as composite designers, because. So there's mechanical designers too, which obviously they do have an input, but composite have the most updates. So we might do new floors, new front wings, new rear wings constantly. So from race to race, even session to session, they will change something, and that you've designed that, and that's what's made the car faster or occasionally slower. But we can talk about that. But yeah, it's there's nothing quite like that feeling. And I think that everyone chases that buzz then. And,
for the entire team as well.
Yeah. Because it's amazing to come in. If you come into the factory after you've had, say, scored no points, cars haven't finished, everyone is miserable, everyone doesn't talk to each other on the Monday. Yeah,
it's hard to rally around.
Then come in after you've won a race and everyone is buzzing, everyone is, celebrating. It's just the mood. It is. I'm not sure there's very many jobs like it where something happens on a Sunday can have such a big impact on everyone.
Yeah, that euphoria.
Yeah, and we'll hopefully get back to those days at some point for Aston Martin. But.
Oh, I'm sure they will. And within the composite world as well, when you have a design, for you, what is the most beautiful part of a composite design that the fans never get to see?
Yeah, I think it's just the intricacies of how a part comes together, and carbon fiber. You can just even if you again going to geek out in this. So if you lay the fibers in different angles, it gives different properties. So by the way you've laid it up, by the way you've told, so we have to do laminate booklets then, and it's literally a book page to page where it says what angle and where to put each ply, so each sheet of material, what angle to put it on, and whatever way you do that will drastically change the properties of that part. And I think a lot of people don't see that, and I wish they could, but I don't know how you would show it to them. Like, but maybe sometime in the future.
Well, I think the more social media that's out there, people are learning more even from that they would never have seen before.
I think also a lot of teams don't like to tell people.
Well, that's
that secrecy thing. Even though we're all doing the same thing, there's still
everybody is shrouded.
Talk about it. Yeah,
exactly. In case somebody gets 100th of a second more than somebody else, you know. So, and when because you're in the pits, so you're in the garage on track day, and when you're out walking that track with the driver and the rest of the team, what are you visualizing when you're out walking that track? What are you trying to see?
Well, when I was at track, I would be reliability engineer rather than design engineer, and I'm basically looking to see what could break the car, or what issues will come up during a race if a driver goes over that curb too fast, or if you can see a grate that's maybe a little bit dipped or something, could that damage the car, or even suspension. If it overloads suspension, oh yeah, I saw that curb. Yeah, that corner is going to be, watch out for it. And then you could tell the drivers maybe. Well, you don't want to ever tell them
how to drive,
do something. Yeah, because obviously they're the experts. So, but if say it keeps peaking on a, we will follow like data all the time, and if we see that they keep. If they kept doing it, they may damage the suspension longer term. Mm-hmm. We have to say maybe try to avoid that curb next time around. Yeah. But it's a lot of the time it's the vibrations. The thing just shakes itself to bits, and it's that's not good.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And when you're out there, I suppose through the journey that you've been on, and you're walking the walk with the driver and your team. Yeah. Is there at any point you pinch yourself going, what am I doing here? Or, that imposter syndrome that everybody has in some shape or form?
Oh, I suffer greatly from imposter syndrome all the time. I'm like, why am I here? What? Yeah. But then you have to kind of take a step back and go, look, no, I've earned my place here, and, I have a job to do, like they have a job to do, and we all play an equal role in the team, The driver's one part, they won't win a race if we don't design the parts, or if someone doesn't make it, they won't win the race. So we're all equally team members, I think.
And they're all probably thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well,
more than likely.
Yeah.
So about over a year ago, F1 was shaken a little bit by the departure of Adrian Newey from Red Bull to Aston Martin. So how much a role did he play in the work with Aston Martin in 2026? And I suppose for you as a designer, what was that experience like working with him, or did you get to work with?
Yeah, I did briefly. He's very different to what we've had in the past, and I think the things he comes up with, no one, a lot of the time you wouldn't think of it. He's very creative and very, he draws everything by hand. And you walk past his office and go, oh, please don't be drawing a brake duct. Please don't be drawing this, because that means I'll have loads of work the next day. But he will draw it all by hand, and then other people will put it into a computer. But he's still an enigma. I still panic when he comes near, because I'm like, oh, what's he going to ask me? Or am I going to say something stupid? Or but he's had that 2026 car. Is him, and everything, we pushed everything late, so we give him more time to come up with better ideas for it. So but yeah, it was lovely to see how he works,
and to work with him as well.
To work with him, yeah. So, although I'm not sure how much I worked with him, but yeah, I know some people would. I have a colleague who used to just go into his office and ask things, and I'd be like, I would never do that. I would, just in case I say something. But yeah, he was like, oh, you just go in and ask. Yeah, maybe,
he's only human.
Yeah. But he's had a tough job. He's taken on the team principal job as well, which is a lot of work. But we will see how it goes. there's a lot of hope in the team, or there was a lot of hope at the start of the year. And I think I was kind of trying to, ease expectations and go, we don't know, we've never been here before, so let's not get too excited. Let's just keep it calm. But I think people thought we would be better than we are now. But it's a long road.
You've got peaks and troughs, so you do in all forms.
Yeah,
because they're struggling really badly at the minute with in 2026.
Yeah, and because there's big rule change, and some teams have got it right, and some teams have got it wrong.
Yeah, well, they seem to have struggled at the minute with their power unit that they put in.
Yeah. It's again Honda. This is the first year they've had Honda engines. We used to use Mercedes engines where we just buy the unit, because Mercedes are a works team, so they have their own. So we would just buy it from them. You bolt it up, fine. Whereas this is the first time we had a works team. We've been a works team, so we developed the engine with Honda, and we're the only team with Honda. So you're already at a disadvantage. You've only one team running the engine, whereas Mercedes have 4 teams. So straight away they're doing 4 times more mileage on a new engine, and it's a very different engine setup or power unit this year than it was previously.
Yeah.
And I hope they get there, but we'll see. Hopefully this April break, now that we don't have the races in the Middle East, might actually help them. But.
And if they don't get it right, they have a potential issue with drivers as well, because that might put drivers off with the situation.
Yeah, it could do, but they may be able to fix it overnight, and then come Japan this weekend, they may be fine. But you just don't. We don't
live in hope.
Yeah, I hope they do well for Honda's sake in Japan, because they're a Japanese company, so it's a big deal for them to do.
Because right across the team, it impacts the entire team.
Yeah.
When you get a problem like that.
Yeah, because there's nothing we can do as composite designers to make that car any faster than. It's no matter if everyone else does their job perfectly and there's one thing doesn't work. But again, that's back to every team member is important. Every person has an equal part to play.
Indeed.
So, but we're all one team, so.
And that's it. This particular sport, well, so many sports, but this one relies so heavily on hundreds of people, thousands of people. And even getting the vehicle and all of its tooling and equipment and from one site to logistically to another site, it's huge.
Yeah, it's mad, the transport, how it works there, because they pack everything in the factory and we have to lock down everything, so it has to be totally secure. And it's just mad how quickly they can pack everything up. Even after a race, basically the garage is packed up within a few hours and off to the next one. It's just everything disappears, everything's gone. It's
just so finely tuned now, isn't
everyone
it?
knows exactly what they have to do, when, where it needs to go. Everything has a place.
So have you been in a situation where you arrive at the new location and something isn't?
Yes. So that's, where was it? Was it Brazil maybe? I can't remember what year, 2022. But every team's freight was delayed, so we were all sitting there in Sao Paulo. I think this was COVID year as well, so you couldn't, it's not like you could go out, enjoy yourself. But the freight was just late, and everyone was like, well, what do we do if it doesn't arrive? You can't race if it... And I think there was one team, their engines didn't arrive until the Friday morning, and Friday is free practice time, so it needs to arrive.
Yeah.
Usually freight arrives Monday, Tuesday, so you lost 3 days of building a car, so that was But it always works out somehow. I don't know how, but
they all manage to get there.
Everyone manages to get there.
And as you rightly say, if something fails, the car just can't go out.
Yeah.
The race doesn't get held.
Yeah.
You're left in the
you're just not
in the garage with the car and everybody looking at each other.
Yeah. Well, as you saw McLaren the other day, 2 cars didn't even start the race.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. And it's not ideal and it's a lot of money lost as well. So there is.
But it's also really good for the smaller teams when that happens.
Yeah,
because they have a chance then to score points. So always, not all the time, but sometimes the big teams to have their issues, so then the smaller teams have a chance to score points. Because especially now, there's 11 teams, so only 5 of them will score points, so 6 won't. So it's a tougher game.
And as fans, I suppose, we're spectators of the sport. So we only get to hear what the commentators tell us, the likes of Crofty, Martin Brundle, Bernie Collins and so on. But when you're in that garage on that race day, can you tell me what you feel like and what does it do to your senses of, and the team?
The funniest thing is I'm listening to all the radio. There might be 10 channels. There might be 10 people talking at once. I never know what's actually happened in the race. I know where our cars are. I won't know who's won the race at the end of it because you're so focused on your car and what your driver's saying and what all your engineers and whether there's an issue or whatever. But you are focused on your team, not...
That's the job on hand that day.
Yeah.
For the rest of us, that we can see the entire thing.
Yeah, because obviously we don't listen. Well, I never listen. You don't listen to the commentary when you're in there, so you don't know what. Yeah. You don't know what's going on out there. Yeah. You know who's directly in front of you and behind you or who you're racing, but you won't know what the general gist of the race is. Yeah, you just focus on what you have to focus on. Yeah, like sometimes you only know by what anthem's being played at the podium as to who's won. Oh.
It's like, oh, matter of fact, yeah. And what about the sprint weekends versus normal weekends and the change? And how does that affect your ability to respond to the driver feedback with setup changes or hardware changes?
Yeah, I think the way they originally had the sprint races was awful because you had to set it up and that was your setup for the whole weekend. You had one practice session, then you were into. Whereas now, I think they almost split it into two separate. So after the first sprint race, you have qualifying proper for the proper race, but you can change things for that qualifying. So it works a little bit better, but it's still logistics-wise. It's nicer for the mechanics because there's more parc fermé. Mm-hmm. So then they don't have to do loads of work between sessions because you're not allowed to touch the car when it's in parc fermé.
Set.
So for the mechanics, it's great. But for the engineers, it's probably a bit harder because you have more data to analyze overnight, say, for the next day. So you have to put more work in that way. But if it's good for the sport to have more races, I don't know whether some of it's a little bit artificial, but... Yeah, it's pushing it to a limit beyond. Yeah, and then you kind of, again, it's a spare parts situation. For sprint weekends, you're going to have more just in case. Because if you have an incident in a sprint race, the race proper is more important because there's more points up for grab. So you don't want to sacrifice a car in a sprint race. Like if you've crashed in a sprint race and then you can't go to the proper race, you don't want to do that. Yeah. So it's a fine line with it, isn't it? And if you could cast your eye into the future, what do you think the predictions for this season? Who do you think will perform? Who do you think will face the challenges? And ultimately, who do you think will win? I think Mercedes look strong. I think they've got a good power unit. Ferrari, everyone always wants Ferrari to do well because I think Ferrari doing well is good for the sport. Yeah. So I hope they get back there. They're creeping. Let's give them another few races. They might be back there. But I think Mercedes and Ferrari are definitely going to be up there. Are definitely up there. Yeah. So Susie, if you will, we'll have a little bit of fun in the next segment. We've gathered some unpopular opinions on F1, and we want to get your thoughts and reactions to some of them. So DRS, the drag reduction system, has this been a good thing for the sport, or will it be missed this season? I think, we have something similar now. I think it's even worse. You have the, what do they call, overtake mode or straight line mode. It's a gimmick. And it makes our lives a lot more difficult. Okay, so it will definitely not be missed. Yeah. Every weekend should have a sprint race. 3 practice sessions are boring. No, you need the practice sessions. That's where you get your data from. Okay, so data is so important. And what's your take on the race at Abu Dhabi in 2021 when the safety car restart led Verstappen past Hamilton to win the race and champions? I like Verstappen, but I don't know why I like him. Yeah. I don't know. I like him because he's a bit more controversial, and I think he's misunderstood. So you're happy with that, Raheel? Yeah. Well. Okay. Cool. And if the driver was given the same machinery, who do you think the top 3 would be? That's a good question. The current drivers, are we talking now, or? Yeah, it could do. Yeah. Oh, okay. I think you'd have Leclerc.
Okay.
Verstappen. I don't know who'd be. Oh, I'm going to have to say McLaren driver, aren't I? I'll
Just to
go
keep it
Norris.
level.
I'll say Norris.
Okay.
Not Fernando.
Yeah. So,
He'd be fourth.
but well, we'll go for. We'll go for. And remove Monaco from the track list. It's no good for racing.
Having done one Monaco race, I would say yes, remove it, because it's a brilliant event and everyone loves going to it. But it's just there for the parties.
It's the iconic, everybody wants to go to Monaco to watch the races,
Well, see,
the ambience.
these cars are slightly smaller. But their cars are too big for the track now. You can't overtake. So
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And being there as well, the build-up even to Monaco is huge because you've got loads of races. You've got Porsche days. You've got lots of races in between. And that is a big attraction as well for that.
It is just for the social aspect, I think, is why it's still there.
Take it out. Okay, good. So we've got to look at what you've done with STEM, because this is really important to you as well. And you've been a real advocate for this and very vocal in your support of women and young girls in STEM careers. And you made several guest appearances and podcasts and talks up and down the country. What drives you to do that work, and what moments have stayed with you?
I think it's because maybe I didn't have it, and I can see other young girls who I've spoken to in schools that said, "Oh, I would never have thought to have done that," and you're just like, it would just take one little girl to think of doing engineering, and that's kind of, I feel like I've done something, and I love. I go back to UCD where I studied. I usually go back every year and give a lecture to the first year students. And it's amazing that the amount of female students then come talk to me afterwards with all these questions, and they seem so more enthusiastic about it. And I think even in Aston Martin, there's now, in my former Composite team, there was two young girls, or young ladies, I should say, that have come up, and they were a department now. We had 3 females in the group, which I think it's amazing to see, and they're really competent, and they're probably a lot more confident than I was when I was a junior, which is lovely to see. But I hope that I can influence other kids, but not even just females, just people who didn't think about it, who would not, didn't think it
was possible.
Yeah, because a lot of people I've worked with in previous years would be from England. That's where their home and their family are, so they would just naturally think of doing F1. Whereas I think here, especially, people don't really think about it. And you're
the talent we have in Northern Ireland and Ireland in total is immense.
Exactly,
it's huge.
And I think the Irish creativity is legendary. So and I think we are good at it. So and I think it's important to give back. I like that part of my job and being able to do that, and I hope
ambassador for it.
Yeah, because if you have to, what's the phrase? You have to see it to be it. So.
And it's great to see UCD as well promote you.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah.
Even on social media and so forth.
I have complete imposter syndrome on that too, because I got an award from them last October, and the Engineering Impact Award. And I was like, what have I done? I don't feel like I've done enough, but
But it's the journey, and again, it's been able to promote that within the younger generation coming through. And I suppose, what's something you wish younger girls interested in motorsport could see that they currently don't?
Well, we don't have a female driver.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. I know there's a programme that's driven by a lady called Kate Bevan and David Coulthard, and they're trying to get the first ever female Formula One World Champion.
Yeah.
And they're taking girls quite young, like 14, 15 or younger, and trying to bring them up. Yeah,
mentor them and coach them into that role.
Because I think a lot of Formula One drivers may not be the best drivers in the world. They've just had the best route and have been able to get to where they are.
Yeah.
By not luck, but they've had the right people driving them. So I think this is to try to get these young girls or young women into the right mindset, into the right right, even just the right feeder series, just so people see them. And so I hope one day
we can see it in so many sports.
Yeah.
Rugby, football, all these sports now are embracing this.
Yeah, I know we have the Formula Academy, which is the F1 kind of female feeder series that follows the circuit around the world. And that's a good thing. But I don't think it gets enough coverage. You don't really ever see it when the F1 is on. So, but, I guess it's time, isn't it? And maybe in the future one of them will even get an FP1 session.
Yeah, but as you say, the more it's promoted, the more coverage it gets, the more popular it becomes then, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And within the F1 engineering or the motorsport world, what female do you admire and who probably doesn't get enough recognition?
Yeah, it's funny you said that because I was thinking this. I don't really know because I don't think there are enough of us.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people I work with that I'm really, like there's people who are senior aeros, Eleanor, and then there's Emma Nicholson who works closely with Newey, who are amazing people, but you will never hear them, you'll never see them, and they do the hard work, they do the hard graft, and it's great now to see Bernie Collins on their strategy on the TV, because she did great things, and maybe things like that will encourage. I'd love to see more engineers promoted. I know a lot of it is sometimes the more marketing or commercial side, but yeah, I wish I would see more.
And I'm sure we will. Yeah. Absolutely. The more people that can promote this, the better. So if you could design the perfect program of what engineering looks like and introduce the girls at a young age, what would it look like?
Just get your hands building things, or even like coding. I know kids do coding or computer. Just learn how to CAD, learn how to code, learn how to build things with your hands. And it's one thing I would maybe like to do is to go into schools and kind of just talk to young people and see what would encourage them to get into F1. But we'll see, that might come. Yeah. That
might be the next step, possibly as a mentor.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know how to do it. That's the
we'll find a way. And what honest advice would you give a young girl today who wants to pursue a career in F1?
I would say, just believe in yourself and maybe volunteer at things. Like, so when I was about 16, 17, I think I volunteered at the Circuit of Ireland rally to be a marshal. It was the most miserable day of my life because I chose the worst day. It was lashing rain and I was standing on a corner with this red flag in case someone came around this corner. Yeah. And I was like, but it was actually great crack because, I was like, this is motorsport. This is, Ireland, we're blessed with brilliant rallying. Like, we've the best motorsport in the world, I think, in Ireland, and we just don't promote it enough. Like Formula 1 is the glamour side, but proper motorsport is rallying, I think.
It really is. That's where the metal is,
exactly,
isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and while nothing can match the exhilaration, of the world of F1, but as you rightly say, it's getting where Ireland, the Circuit of Ireland, being on that country lane and so forth. Are there points where you're standing in the garage thinking, what am I doing here? Why? I just love to be walking the dogs or out fishing and down County Kerry.
Yes. There was one point, I was at a Bahrain test, it was probably 3 years ago now, 2 a.m. in the morning, surrounded by broken brake ducts, going, why? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I here? But you get over that.
You have to. Focus on the job at hand. And is there someone in your life who keeps you grounded when the season just becomes just all too consuming? Or
I think it's my little nephew Patrick.
Yeah. If
I ever get too stressed or anything, I might just
he's your go-to.
Go give Patrick a hug or sing a song to Patrick, and he
rallies you back round again.
He's amazingly dude. At the end of the day, it's only a car that goes round in circles every other weekend. So world's not going to end.
Exactly. The right attitude. Yeah. The right attitude. So I know we've been diving into F1 engineering and everything involved in Aston Martin. So recently you have made a change in your life and you have announced that you're leaving Aston Martin and now you currently have left Aston Martin. So after 12 years with Aston Martin, why? What was the decision? And I suppose what's the next thing that is in store for Susie?
I think it was the pull to come home. Like, I'm from Restrever, and since I've been home, the weather's been good. Well, some days.
Yeah, that's a fluke.
Some days.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I love being around my family and friends, and like, yes, I love F1. I love my job, but there's other things in life that are more important. And I'm not saying I'll never go back to F1.
Yeah.
I'm just home for now and see. Like, I think with the big rule change this year and our team growing, it's very different so even when I started at Aston Martin, it was Force India, and I think there was 350 employees. Everyone knew everyone knew everyone's name, what they did, and now there's 1,400 employees, and it's a very different game.
Yeah.
And I kind of think I just needed a break from it.
Well, 12 years is
it's a long time.
Long time.
And also the breaks that we had in F1, the shutdowns and things, they were 2 weeks, but then when you came back, you almost had more work to do than when you left, that kind of thing. So you never really get a break.
Yeah.
You know, and you always have your work phone. Even when I was on holiday at home, I'd always have my work phone, so you'd be constantly answering emails. So it's nice to. Still feel like I'm on holiday now, though.
Yeah, well, it'll take time for that to level in. Yeah. But you felt you're on the go 24/7.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. So it's nice now to just enjoy life, enjoy taking the dog for a walk up the mountains, and. You know.
And you'd said previously, before we came on to this, that you had your sister in London, and that was a great ally for you as well, and obviously Patrick and
my sister. I don't know how my sister does it. My sister's 2 severely disabled children. She's 4 kids in total, 2 seriously disabled, and she's a lawyer for a London law firm. I don't know how she does it all. Like, Aunt runs the school choir or the church choir. They took 45 kids to London last weekend to sing in Trafalgar Square. So she puts me to shame, but she's amazing. So like, she grounds me almost, like, so I used to go spend weekends with them in London, and they moved back to Ireland a few years ago. So then I think I was always going to come home. Everyone
there was
knew
a hankering.
I was always going to. Yeah, it doesn't mean I'll stay home. Like, I keep threatening this to her. I was like, just because I'm here now doesn't mean I'm going to stay forever. So.
Well, but at times you just have to lean into what's in front of you, and you're the same in pressurized moments with Formula One. We would probably look at you and say, how she cope, with that pressure. So everybody's got their own.
That's true. Yeah.
Little bit to look after, So, and I suppose we've come to the final part of our series here, and I got to ask you. So, what was your first ever car?
I was Peugeot 308.
Okay, we'll move on quickly then. So, and and if you had the chance to drive any car without limits, what would it be?
Well, I'd want to drive an F1 car.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Well, it does count.
Because I don't think I'd physically be able to drive it. First of all, I'm too short, so I'll either reach the pedals or stay at the top. I think that's my options, because you can't do both at the same time.
And I remember we had Rosemary Smith here, who was Circuit of Ireland, and Renault did a association with her and brought her across and asked her to drive a Formula One car. And she got all kitted in the gear, and as she was walking out, she just kept saying, "Don't stall, don't stall." Don't stall. That was the only thing she was terrified of. And she got into the car, and again, she was saying, "Am I going to fit?" and so forth, got into the car. And she didn't stall. So, but she had a fab time. She was a great lady for rallying.
Yeah.
So, and I suppose if people want to find out more about you and the work that you do, even with STEM, where do they reach out to you? How do they get to you?
Either I'm on my LinkedIn or Instagram. I think I'm still Susie F1 on Instagram, and then just Sósanna Ní Dhubháin on LinkedIn.
Okay, because I'm sure from this, what we will want is young boys and girls to reach out if they have an interest in engineering and they've got questions, and just anything about F1 that is relative to their careers. To reach out to you and
I'll try
ask.
Not to bore people by talking about it.
I don't think you're boring anybody with some of your stories with F1. Definitely not. So, like, that's it for the episode of Break Time. Susie, thanks so much for joining me. That was amazing and really, really inspiring. And over the last 12 odd years working for Aston Martin, it's a real credit to you, and it's incredible to sit and listen to be perfectly honest.
Thank you.
And thanks for sharing so much with us and so openly. So I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Yeah. Not too scary.
So if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and share it with someone who loves a great success story. Thanks for listening, and join me next time with more guests, more stories, and more inspiration.